Welcome to Understand. The SDGs are a universal blueprint of 17 interconnected goals adopted by the world to end poverty, ensure peace and prosperity for all by 2030. Let us review about SDGs.
You've probably heard about the UN Sustainable Development Goals, right? This big, ambitious 17-point plan to make the world a better place. But what does a global blueprint like that actually look like when it hits the ground? Well, today we're going to zoom in and see how those huge goals collide with the reality of one single nation, Pakistan. And that's really the core question, isn't it? It's one thing to talk about these goals in a conference hall, but it's a completely different story to see how they connect to the daily lives of millions of people. So we're going to get past the theory and go straight to what's happening on the ground. So, real quick, what even are the SDGs? Think of it as a massive to-do list for the entire planet. Seriously, from ending poverty to fighting climate change, making sure there's justice for everyone, these are the 17 most critical challenges the world has agreed we have to tackle by 2030. To really get a grip on this, we've got to start with the basics, right? With the goals that form the absolute foundation of any healthy society. Okay, our first number is, well, it's staggering. 40%. This is the reality behind SDG number 1. No poverty. 40% of the people in Pakistan, that's nearly 95 million human beings, are living below the poverty line. This isn't just a statistic. For them, it's a daily fight for survival. And, of course, poverty creates this devastating ripple effect on the next generation, which brings us to this number, 26 million. That's how many kids are out of school. It's a massive hurdle for Goal 4, quality education, and just a tragic loss of potential for the entire country. Now let's talk about Goal 5, gender equality. And wow, this number is a tough one to see. Out of 146 countries, Pakistan ranks 145th in the Global Gender Gap Index. That tells you just how deep and systemic the challenge is to make sure women have the same opportunities as men. So, the big question is, how do you turn these abstract goals into actual help? Well, here's where you can really see the rubber meet the road. You see the problem, and boom, here's the policy. Poverty, a cash safety net program. Child stunting for malnutrition, a program that provides nutritious food. Getting kids into school, a stipend to help families afford it. Health costs, an insurance card. This is what that global blueprint looks like in action. Okay, so we've got the human foundation, but what about the ground it's all built on? Let's shift gears to the environmental challenges that threaten everything, because this is where Pakistan is on the absolute front lines of a global crisis. Just let that sink in. This isn't some abstract warning from a scientific paper. This was the lived reality of SDG 13, climate action. When you're a country that is this vulnerable to climate change, this isn't a problem for the future. It is an existential threat, and it is happening right now. And look, it's not just one thing. It's this cascade of crises, all feeding into each other. You've got severe water scarcity, putting pressure on everyone. You've got air pollution in cities like Lahore that reaches literally toxic levels. That critically low forest cover, it just makes those devastating floods even worse. And then failures in waste management are poisoning the ocean. It's just one challenge stacked on top of another. Which leads us straight to the economy. I mean, how in the world do you build prosperity and create decent jobs for people when you're facing these immense human and environmental hurdles? It's a real puzzle. Let's look at the next generation. SDG 8 is all about decent work. But check this out. Nearly a third of young people in Pakistan are classified as NEET. That stands for not in education, employment, or training. That is a gigantic pool of untapped human potential, and frankly, it's a major risk to the country's stability. And here we see this incredible contrast when it comes to Goal 9, infrastructure and innovation. On the one hand, you have these massive, very visible projects, gleaming new highways, ports, power plants, mostly funded by China. But on the other hand, there's been an almost total failure to invest in the research and development that could actually innovate the economy and move it into a higher gear. And if you want to talk about something that affects daily life, this is it. Goal 7 is affordable and clean energy. But for millions of people, the daily reality is something called load shedding, planned blackouts. It's all because of this huge financial mess in the energy sector known as circular debt, which basically makes reliable power a distant dream. Okay, so we've looked at people, the planet, and prosperity. But there's one final goal, the one that honestly ties every single one of these other issues together. It's the one that holds the key. And it's this one, Goal 17, Partnerships for the goals. It sounds kind of boring, right? Administrative. Let me tell you, it's not. For a country like Pakistan, this is the whole game. Nothing else we've talked about works without getting this one right. And this is what that web of partnerships actually looks like in practice. You've got the IMF providing emergency bailouts to keep the economy from collapsing. You have China providing massive loans to build all that infrastructure. And you have the UN and other bodies providing climate finance to help the country adapt to those devastating floods. But here is the massive, crucial paradox. The very partnerships that are essential for survival also create this giant weight of debt. And that debt becomes the single biggest obstacle to making progress on everything else. Poverty, education, health, you name it. The solution becomes the biggest problem. And that leaves us with this really big, uncomfortable question, doesn't it? Pakistan's story with the SDGs shines a light on a dilemma that so many countries are facing. When your progress on everything is so tangled up in this fragile web of global finance and partnerships, how much control do you really have over your own future?
Thanks for your time to learn, earn, and lead. This is Mohammad Zishan Awan, Advocate High Court. To join Vision 2047, please register with us and be part of the transformation.